Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company, fiber internet, HD, and digital IPTV in southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis, lawmg.com. The IU School of Education, preparing teachers, scholars, and administrators to improve teaching in Indiana and around the world. education.indiana.edu. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. The Radio and TV News Endowment, a fund established by listeners and viewers to sustain reporting of Indiana news. More information at indianapublicmedia.org/support. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. The opioid epidemic is a complicated issue. In question is how to better educate people without contributing to the stigma surrounding addiction.
Just because someone dies of an overdose in an address does not make that a drug house.
Ahead, how the City of Bloomington is responding after efforts to call attention to the local drug problem went wrong. The campaign to put an end to plastic straws is a worldwide movement.
If more and more people do that, it's pretty awesome to think about the impact that we'll have.
Ahead, what some local businesses are doing to help the effort. Plus, we tour the newest property that's now part of the Hoosier National Forest. Those stories, plus the latest news headlines from across the state, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Bloomington's mayor regularly says his administration is built on transparency, but some residents say a number of recent controversies show that that's not really the case. As Barbara Brozier reports, the latest incident involves data published on a city website that included the exact addresses of fatal drug overdoses.
When April Adkins logged onto Facebook last week, she was shocked by what she read. The post referred to a city-run website called Bloomington Revealed that included a map of fatal overdoses in the county.
This information about my in-laws were on the map, their address.
Adkins' brother-in-law died of an overdose in 2015, and her late husband also struggled with addiction.
The feeling of seeing their address on that website was like, this is very unfair. And at first, really I thought about my family. I mean, that was my main concern. But then I started thinking, well, there's a lot of families on this website that are represented by these dots that look like the sex offender registry.
The city says the map was intended to educate the community and show that overdoses aren't confined to one area of town.
But we also learned just last week, after this data was up for many months, that the addresses of individual deaths was a very sensitive information, and that seems obvious now. It is, of course.
The city responded to critics initially by saying the information was public record and it wouldn't be taken down. After the situation reached a boiling point, the Hamilton administration decided to remove the location data, but in the process, mistakenly posted the names and ages of the deceased. That information has also now been scrubbed from Bloomington Revealed. The mayor says balancing public health data and privacy concerns is complicated.
We will continue to work on this. From the beginning of my administration, we've been focused on transparency.
But some of the people on the front lines of addressing the opioid crisis say that's no longer how they feel.
We hope that in the future there's a real involvement of people most affected. Not as a response to policies that are enacted, but before those policies are enacted.
Abert says the Bloomington Revealed controversy is one of several instances of the administration not having an open conversation with the community before making a decision. He points to backlash over the city's purchase of an armored vehicle and a proposed moratorium on new addiction treatment centers.
What would be best practice would be that when they have these meetings, 51% of the people attending those meetings have direct, immediate experience with whatever the policy is.
Adkins says she felt the city brushed off her concerns about the overdose map until she helped plan a protest outside the mayor's house. She's glad the administration changed its mind and removed the information from the website.
Am I satisfied that things like this will not occur in the future? No, I'm pretty confident that the mayor's administration will go on without public input on several different issues.
Reporter Barbara Brozier joins us now for more on this. Barbara, so has the city talked about how they might better communicate, not only just to the professionals, but just in the public in general?
Absolutely. Beverly Callender Anderson, who's the Director of Community and Family Resources for the city, she appeared on WFIU's Noon Edition earlier today, and she said, hey, we did learn from this experience, and we realize now that we need to work more closely with groups like the Indiana Recovery Alliance and other stakeholders that are seeing these issues firsthand to get ideas as they're coming up with policy decisions. And she also urges anyone to call the city. Just call and make suggestions, let them know how you're feeling about certain policies so they can then adjust accordingly.
What other types of information is on that Bloomington Revealed website?
There's a ton of information on there, and there's this group that kind of determines from the city what data they're going to put out there. It's everything from the number of service calls that the police department makes downtown to even information about the demographics of people who work for the city. Mayor John Hamilton says the intent really is to empower people, give people information, whether they're community leaders or residents, just to make informed decisions in the community. But as we heard, some people say, well, hey, maybe we should include content area experts, people who work in those specific areas like social services or the criminal justice system when it comes to certain policies, so that they can explain how maybe we can more sensitively share some of this information.
All right, Barbara, thank you very much. The Hoosier National Forest is getting a little bit bigger. As Tyler Lake reports, the U.S. Forest Service is buying more than 100 acres along Lake Monroe.
From the southernmost parts of Bloomington all the way to the Ohio River, the Hoosier National Forest sprawls over more than 200,000 acres.
It's available for hiking, hunting, dispersed recreation, bird watching, wildlife watching.
Ron Scott says acquiring the new property was a no-brainer.
It adjoins land that the Forest Service already owned to the immediate east and a little bit to the northeast. So it was contiguous.
The plot is 114 acres. Scott says the recreation staff are still considering where to put trail connections throughout the property. The Forest Service purchased the property for more than $400,000 with federal money from the Land and Water Conservation Fund. As for the future of the land, Scott says he intends to preserve every acre of the forest for as long as possible.
But we always take the long view, and as long as the public appreciates and wants there to be a national forest for all to enjoy, we'll be taking care of places like this.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Tyler Lake.
New chemicals meant to keep household items from catching on fire might be just as harmful to wildlife as old flame retardants. Indiana University researchers studied these alternatives in bald eagle eggs. They found that these chemicals don't stay in eagles' bodies as long, but they're at higher levels.
There is this trend of what we call the whack-a-mole game, of replacing one molecule with another, which is very similar.
Vanier says once the chemical has broken down inside the eagle's body, it could be even more toxic to the bird. She says the study focused on bald eagles because even though their numbers are increasing, the recovery has been slow. Most likely, she says, because of flame retardants and other pollutants. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. There's a growing effort to reduce the number of plastic straws people use. Starbucks is the latest chain to get on board, but how's the national push playing out in Indiana? And in news headlines, things continue to get worse for Hoosier farmers who are already struggling because of the U.S. trade war with China. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
The WTIU WFIU news team connects Indiana to the world. We bring you the top news of the day on radio, TV, and online. We round up the stories that have people talking each week and dig deep into the issues that affect your community the most. The WTIU WFIU news team is where you are and telling your story.
$10,000.
15? 15, you think?
20, 21,000?
600.
20. 18.5.
24.
It's at least 40.
Look at it.
4,500,000.
650.
20.
650.
This textile would be worth about $500,000.
$500,000?
No way.
I knew it. It's just a blanket.
Laying on the back of a chair. Well, sir, you have a national treasure.
Wow.
A national treasure. Congratulations.
I can't believe this.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. One after the other, restaurants, businesses, and even communities are dropping plastic straws. The immediate goal is to reduce the hundreds of millions of plastic straws estimated to be used in the country each day. Lindsay Wright joins us now with more.
Hi, Joe. Thanks. That's right. Many people are turning to alternatives like this. It's a reusable straw made of metal. But some people are thinking much bigger, and they're hopeful the straw movement will lead to an overall reduction in all plastic use. Cardboard, plastics, paper, aluminum cans.
Danny Schaust has become known as the recycling guru among her friends.
Actually, during my last year of high school, I helped start a paper recycling program at my high school.
But it's not just recycling Schaust is focused on. She's interested in reducing her waste. She's carried a reusable mug for years, uses tote bags instead of plastic ones for groceries. She even works in the sustainability field. Just a few months ago, she decided to take things a step further and purchase a set of stainless steel reusable straws.
You know, you look at bring your own reusable straw, and I was like, I don't know. I mean, like, I can, but do I even use straws that much?
It turns out she used more straws than she thought, several a week, and it adds up. So now, when she goes out to eat, she politely asks for no straw and pulls out her own. Schaust is part of a rapidly growing trend to reduce plastic single-use straws. They typically aren't recyclable, ending up in landfills, waterways, and even marine life.
Is it a straw? Don't tell me it's a freaking straw. Because it looked like in Germany.
That video went viral, and it started a conversation really about what is the purpose of plastic straws and what's their utility in the world.
Indiana Recycling Coalition Executive Director Allison Mitchell says the conversation surrounding plastic straws has evolved over the past several years.
It's kind of, I think, part of a continuum where people are slowly starting to be more conscious and aware of their individual small choices and how they can have a great impact when they are all kind of aggregated together.
A growing number of local restaurants and businesses are backing the effort too. Jeff Meese opened Hive a few months ago. There are no plastic straws here, only locally sourced paper straws like this.
Meese says using paper straws like this cost about 6 times more than plastic ones. That can add up, but now they're not giving them out to every customer who walks in.
You know, there's a cost benefit to it if you can get people to not use straws and have a reason for it.
Other businesses like Cup and Kettle Tea Company in Bloomington are going even further. Co-owner Kayla Maldonado says the shop can go through hundreds of straws a week.
This year I decided to try and find something that would meet both of our needs and provide them with a straw, but also not be throwing away all these plastic things.
Now they use reusable straws, paper straws, and biodegradable to-go cups. Large corporations are also vowing to make changes. Starbucks announced it will phase out plastic straws by 2020, reducing around 1 billion straws a year. Some cities have gone as far as enacting plastic bans. That's sparked serious backlash from people with disabilities who say plastic straws are often necessary. And some people simply question how much of an impact cutting out straws can really have. Although Mitchell says she doesn't necessarily agree with outright bans, she says the current movement will likely go well beyond straws.
As individual consumers become more conscious of their consumption of single-use plastic, that will drive the market to innovate and change and use new materials, use less materials, and then use materials that are either biodegradable or compostable as alternatives.
And Chow says she's taking her sustainability efforts one step at a time, which she says has helped her create new habits. Now, she and her husband are getting ready to build a compost bin.
Just kind of slowly doing these things, and you'll realize you can do one more thing. Take that next step, and if more and more people do that, it's pretty awesome to think about the impact that we'll have.
But Joe, there are some complaints with alternatives. For example, this paper straw has been sitting in a cup of water for several minutes. It's soggy, it's not necessarily holding up very well. So that's one complaint. And along those same lines, disability groups talk about how some of the alternatives aren't really effective. There are choking hazards with paper straws, and some alternatives are flat out expensive. So that's something that they've been saying about straws.
You know, I would say too that I did try these once, and there's a different taste, I feel, too.
Yeah,
When
I've
I don't know what
experienced
it
that
is,
as well.
but
I couldn't
assume you would
speak
get
to
used to it after a while.
Yeah.
Especially something like this one here.
Yeah, I have
You
used
would
the metal straw. It does not have a different taste that I've noticed.
Would that be hard to clean? No?
But no, people have brushes, and I've actually seen
okay.
them clean it. They say it's
And
really
Take it
pretty
with them.
easy, and they just
yeah.
stick it in their purse and carry it around, pull it out at restaurants.
All right, thank you very much,
You're
Lindsay.
welcome.
Lawyers for Attorney General Curtis Hill are trying to discredit parts of a leaked report that contains sexual misconduct allegations against Hill. There are a few discrepancies between the report, which contains accusations against Hill, and first-person accounts from the alleged victims. Now, Hill's attorney claims those differences show someone intentionally put what he calls false and malicious information in the report, and he wants legislative leaders to identify that person.
Correct this memo that continues to contain this false and malicious information.
Betts is also threatening to bring defamation charges against the unknown person who leaked the report to the press. Hill has denied the allegations and rejected calls from Republican Governor Eric Holcomb and other GOP leaders to resign. This week, Democratic State Representative Matt Pierce joined two of his legislative colleagues in drafting a resolution calling on lawmakers to form a committee to investigate impeaching Hill. He says elected officials should be held to higher standards.
I think if the Speaker of the House wanted to, he could direct a Judiciary Committee in the House to go ahead and collect evidence and hear from people and decide whether they think we should move forward on impeachment.
Pierce says if the investigation determined impeachment is necessary, it would be up to the governor to call a special session to start the process. Now for more headlines from across the state, we go over to Barbara Brosier, who has the latest on this week's top stories.
Thanks, Joe. The EPA's decision to relax some rules on toxic coal ash is drawing criticism from Hoosier environmentalists. They worry the rule changes for coal-fired power plants will put Indiana residents at risk because the state has the most coal ash ponds in the country. The changes push back the deadline to close problematic ash dumps and give state regulators flexibility in how they deal with the large waste piles resulting from burning coal for electricity. Indiana is moving towards banning several dozen invasive plants. The Natural Resources Commission approved a preliminary ban earlier this week on the sale, transport, introduction, and distribution of more than 40 invasive plants. Ellen Jacquard is with the Indiana Native Plant and Wildflower Society. She says she's happy the rule went through, but concerned that two species were left off the list, Norway maple and Callery pear.
I think that they're going to hear during the public comment period from a lot of citizens who feel that it's completely irrational to continue to selling an invasive plant that we're also spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to control in the state.
The Department of Natural Resources says the state needs to decrease public demand for the trees before banning them. The NRC still has time to add those two species to the list. It will be at least 9 months before the rule is brought for final adoption. The school district where a 13-year-old girl and a teacher were shot in May is asking voters to approve more money to improve security. Noblesville Schools is asking for an additional $50 million over 8 years. It's in the operating referendum that will be on the November ballot. The money would be used to employ more school resource officers, safety staff, and mental health counseling staff, and to recruit and keep teachers. Ella Whistler and teacher Jason Seaman were shot May 25th. A 13-year-old student is accused in the attack. The Carrier factory in Indianapolis, where about 630 workers were laid off after their jobs were outsourced to Mexico, is bringing more than 120 of those workers back to the plant. The workers' union says it's glad the opportunity came for some who are still unemployed, but the relief might not be permanent. This time of year brings especially demanding work. 45% of students at Indiana's public universities are completing bachelor's degrees within a 4-year period. The Commission for Higher Education's 2018 College Completion Report says that's an improvement of nearly 11% from 5 years ago. The best 4-year completion rates were 67% at Indiana University's Bloomington campus, 59% at Purdue, and 53% at Ball State. Well, it is a tough year to be a soybean farmer. Prices per bushel continue to fall. As Brock Turner reports, tariffs are making an already difficult situation worse.
John Zupanzik has been farming since 1969. He has about 1,000 acres of soybeans in south central Indiana. His fields look good this year, and while that typically would be a good thing, he's worried it could cause soybean prices to plummet even further. That's because the market is already saturated. The trade fight between China and the United States is leading Chinese buyers to cancel soybean orders. That's a big deal for Zupanzik and other Hoosier farmers because 1/3 of China's soybeans come from the United States, with the most coming from Indiana.
The tariffs is probably, yes, it's probably the most newsworthy thing that's happened recently.
While he's seen the ebbs and flows in the market before, there's never been anything quite like this.
Well, the last 2 months they're down almost $2 a bushel. About half of that, about $1 a bushel, is probably due to the tariff.
Soybean farmers don't operate with a big profit margin anyway, so it's easy to go from making a little money to being in the red. Zupanzik says he hopes politicians can figure out a way to reduce tariffs before the end of the harvest season. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Brock Turner.
More than 500 educators from across the country gathered in Bloomington this week to learn more about ways to improve STEM education. Alicia Lee is a pre-K teacher from Oklahoma. She says a new assistant principal at her school saw a disconnect between young learners and technology.
We didn't know what in the world. I mean, we're thinking 4-year-olds using a robot, and now that we're here, we're learning about how they can help us diagram out the plan, and then the teachers will actually do the coding.
Lee says she's never coded before, but now she plans to create a robotics team. STEM education is a growing trend across the country, and work in STEM fields pays about 25% more than other fields. Nearly half of the teachers enrolled in the programs teach at schools where a majority of students receive free or reduced lunch. A farm just northwest of Terre Haute is growing in popularity thanks to a unique sunflower maze. Ellen Family Farms in Paris, Illinois offers guests the opportunities to walk through a 5-acre maze. The family started the attraction just 3 years ago, greeting about 300 people the first year and 7,000 the next. The farm has welcomed guests from all over the country.
When you come out here and you just see a full 5 acres of sunflowers in full bloom, it just kind of takes your breath away a little bit. It takes you back. You don't expect it.
Augustus says it takes a couple of days to cut out the maze. This year they cut out "Marry Me" for a surprise proposal, and of course she said yes. The maze will be open through at least the end of August. An interesting tidbit about this, they actually have 5 different mazes, Joe, because of how sunflowers bloom. So when one isn't at peak bloom, they rotate guests to the other maze.
That's amazing. Thanks, Barbara. Indiana University's Mathers Museum of World Culture's most recent exhibit invites visitors to interact with Bloomington's history. The display is part of the city's bicentennial celebration. The Memory Shared exhibit allows visitors to write their memories over old laminated images of Bloomington. The photos in the exhibit were gifts to IU or the museum. The staff had about 500 images to choose from.
I think that what they were looking for were images that spoke to all of them, no matter the age, images that were iconic.
One of the images is of the historic courthouse square.
The image reflects, of course, the architecture that we're used to, but it's also an image that is filled with horses and carriages in locations where we normally see parked cars.
Kirk says that although the museum displays cultural exhibits from around the world, Bloomington's photographs hold their own.
People come to our exhibits and they come to our programs and they think that we focus only on other people, other places, but you know, our local culture, our local community is an important aspect of every bit of our daily lives.
The exhibit ends July 27th. That's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber, the Giga City Company, fiber internet, HD, and digital IPTV in southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis, lawmg.com. The IU School of Education, preparing teachers, scholars, and administrators to improve teaching in Indiana and around the world. education.indiana.edu. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. The Radio and TV News Endowment, a fund established by listeners and viewers to sustain reporting of Indiana news. More information at indianapublicmedia.org/support. And by WTIU members. Thank you.